Hey guys, it's Captain Roy for Gulf Coast Boating. On today's episode of Roy on the Water, we're going to take you on a tour of a true performance cruiser. Sport cruisers often lean a little bit for comfort, maybe with the flair of the bow. This boat actually cuts through chop, handles offshore great, is a very comfortable boat as well. Quality build, ladies and gentlemen, a Formula 41. So as we come aboard the swim platform, you're going to notice that there's plenty of room here. You can have some toys out here, you can have some little beanbag chairs, but one of the things that they do with their structural rigidity is you have the ability to extend the swim platform if you want to. So you can have a big giant area out here. There's plenty of spots on the transom for attachments if you want a freedom lift for a dinghy or anything like that. But one cool thing this boat has is right under here, and I'm going to show you in a second, this has a crane so that you can operate either the hatch lift, you can operate the dinghy on and off, 600-pound capacity, so even a small personal watercraft will work. A lot of versatility in this boat, good wash downs out here, great high sides so you don't get wet. You'll notice how high these sides are. This is a really, really good boat for your family, friends out for the day. I think you're going to like it. So one of the things you're going to notice is full isinglass canvas enclosure, bug screen out here, which is really nice when you want to get that breeze going through, but not have to take the whole thing down for a family afternoon on the water and then put it back up when you come back in. So a lot of versatility that this provides. This canvas is in really good shape. It's a really nice high durability canvas. The isinglass is all in good condition. So it's a really nice vessel that they've got here. When you come into the cockpit, you're going to notice all the sea deck throughout the entire boat. I mean, this owner got the complete package with every step covered. Even the walk-through windshield is covered. So, you know, for example, me and Angie love to have our dogs on the boat, but they can slip a lot of times, especially if they've got wet pads. They can slip on the boat. It makes us a little nervous when they're jumping on and off the boat. So this one's got sea deck everywhere. Everywhere a kid or a dog might be walking is covered with sea deck, so a lot better grip, more confidence when you've got kids and dogs running around, or even for yourself. You know, let's face it, we've all had a cocktail or two once in a while and slipped a little bit when we've got wet feet. So having that throughout the entire vessel is a really nice touch. Another thing I like about what Formula does, and remember, they're known for making quality boats. You know, they don't use a lot of cheap materials. They really build a quality boat. A lot of little finishing touches and things like that. Some of the stainless steel and chrome accents that you're going to have instead of plastic or a coated plastic wood piece. So really nice job. But one thing I love is they do soft padded seating. So, you know, in a lot of boats, you're going to notice that these pads where you sit, they're hard, they're firm. And if you're going to be out on the water all day and you're going to be relaxing all day on the water, it's really nice when you have that soft bolster. The thigh bolster that's in here is soft and cushiony. And this is a good quality material. It's all in good condition. I don't see any rips or tears. This boat's been well maintained for a 1999, and I really like the way that they've got this laid out. You've got the ability to have a big dinette table here, and just versatility all around. Look at the number of people that you could have sitting around here, 8, 9 people even. And so you get a real good on and off entry point to the boat while still having this big seating area. You've got another step over here. You've got a Rockford Fosgate subwoofer, great sound system, really comfortable boat. So in addition to some storage under here, we actually have a little cockpit sink, which is really nice. You can flip this up, flip up faucet here. Really great versatility there. Nice, solid, good quality countertop. Again, remember that they build quality stuff here. This is not going to be some cheap laminate on top of here. You got a good fridge here, which is really nice. I like the clear glass door because then you can take a quick glance and see what's in there without constantly opening and closing it. But another thing I like that they've done is this, again, going back to the comfort. This is not a hard bolster here. This is not a hard back. There is actually comfort here when you're sitting here. So this is really nice. You could sit here all day, no problem, and not feel like you're stiff or sore, or that the upholstery is stiff and tough. Again, these thigh bolsters are really nice. Your butt actually sinks into the seat, which is really great. For the captain on this vessel, I like the way that Formula sunk everything down. So you have basically almost a flush level dashboard with the rest of the dash up here, which is really cool because that means you can sit back and relax, kick your feet up, and not have to keep leaning up, craning your neck up to be able to see over the bow of the boat. So the fact that they sunk all of this down into the dash is really nice feature. Another thing that I really like that they did is they made this more like driving a boat normally what we're used to. So for example, you see a lot of boats where the dashboard is up here, you've got your throttle controls up here, and you've got, or excuse me, your throttle over here, your transmission controls over here, which is fine, except that if I want to make little small adjustments when we're underway and I'm sitting here relaxing, hanging out, I have to, again, crane forward and lean forward. I love how Formula puts your throttles down here. So you really feel more like you're actually in normal boat mode from what we're all used to growing up with center consoles. So you can actually be sitting here relaxing, hanging out, and you can make little small adjustments to your throttle if you want to from up here. But your transmission controls are perfect for when you're backing this boat in. You can stand here like this, have perfect access to your transmission controls for backing and maneuvering in tight spaces. So it's the best of both worlds the way that they did this. It's really great. Now this owner's got some redundancy in here. You've got all kinds of gauges in here, all kinds of charts and maps and everything, and I'm sure that a lot of this crosses over and talks to each other. So there's a really cool amount of stuff that's here. You do have some gauges which are really easy line of sight as well, so you don't have to constantly, if the sun is gleaming on glaring on your screen, you don't have to crane your neck or turn or look differently in order to see what your RPMs are or what your engine temps are. Really good display of gauges right across the front, so that, again, all of this goes back to being able to just sit here and relax and cruise without having to be constantly attentive to everything that's going on up here. It's a really good layout. Buttons and switches are easy to access. All of your trim tabs are digital right here, so you can really see what's going on there. I mean, just a great layout the way that they've done this. Very easy, very simple to deal with. You don't have to be constantly jumping up and moving around and leaning forward and operating this and that and reaching over here to touch this. So this is a great layout what Formula did here. They obviously had the captain in mind when they designed this helm. And one of my favorite parts about this boat is one of my favorite parts about any sports cruiser when they do this. The walk-through windshield and step up, especially because this owner has got the C deck on here, which is much better footing. Great for dogs, kids, or even any of our friends who have maybe had a drink or something. When they start walking around the outside rail of a boat, especially if you're underway, if you're tootling up the river down the intercoastal and they start trying to, after they've had a couple of drinks and you know they've had a couple of drinks, and they start trying to make their way around that side up to go lay on the bow pad, bow cushion, that gets real nerve-wracking, and it's real nervous for me whenever I see people doing that. So to have the walk-up windshield is a really, really great feature. I love the way that Formula did this because you've got a big, strong grab handle right here. And so when you walk up here, you really do feel secure. You got a big, wide bottom step, a little bit narrower step, but that's okay because you got the pad here, which just helps with grip. So I highly recommend anybody that's going to be looking at a sports cruiser, try and find something with the walk-through windshield. Your day on the water with family is going to be much less nerve-wracking when you have this. Come on, let's take a look. Look at how much room is on this boat. Now what Formula did is, you see this narrows out to a point. That's what I was telling you about before, what makes this boat a really great offshore vessel, because it does have some flair in the bow. It does have a little bit more of a point than maybe some of your little bit wider. Now you do lose a little bit of walking room around your bed. I'll show you that in a moment. But to be able to be out on the open ocean and know that you're not going to get extremely wet, the splashing coming over the side, it's a really great feature that Formula does on most of their boats, in fact, on their performance cruisers. But look at how long this bow is. So you can have a lot of people up here, some beanbag chairs, some extra padding, extra cushioning. There's just so much versatility on the bow of this boat. The other thing I do love as well is there's all this big high grip. I love this. I hate when a boat has just the smallest little sandpapery feel grip. What Formula did here is put a real high nodule on this so that you really feel like you got a lot of grip up here. Even if it was wet, I would feel confident in this grip. So just a lot of room up here, a lot of room to be able to access stuff. Big giant window for the bedroom, 2 big giant windows for your living room. So just a lot of room up here. Really great idea the way that they did this. Again, big long bow on a 41 foot because they've pushed the cockpit back a little bit. So I love what they did there. Another thing I like that Formula did was they put a big, wide, deep door in here. So you don't have to feel like you're ducking your head. You can walk normally up and down this cabin without worrying about hitting your head on that. Wow, what a big, giant salon that we've got in here. You know, a lot of times on a boat like this, you've got this table and the kitchen are right here, and you just barely got enough room for 2 people to pass by each other, maybe even walk past each other abreast, but really that's about it. Because of this 13.5 foot beam, this big, giant, wide beam on this boat, you've got a lot of room for your dinette here. You've got a lot of room for your kitchen, which gets sunk in and pushed out to the edge of the boat. So you can have several people in here. Somebody can be cutting vegetables. Somebody can be cooking over there. Somebody can be at the dishes. You've got a real refrigerator freezer in here instead of your little cockpit or instead of your little cabin freezer. Fridge. So a lot of versatility, a lot of room in here. You can really actually live on this boat for a couple of years if you wanted to. This is a great boat for the Loop. It's a great boat for the Keys. It's a great boat for the Bahamas, the Caribbean, because it's got the Volvo diesels, which are excellent fuel efficiency, excellent reliability, dependability. They're quiet. They purr along at an idle speed. You can run, 9-10 knots in this vessel, no problem for a long time. They're going to handle that perfectly fine. It's going to be quiet. It's not going to feel like they're real loud and just drowning you out of this vessel. But another thing too is the aft little cabin here. One thing to keep in mind is the roominess of this. And again, going back to what I was talking about this door coming down into the salon. I love the way that they pushed everything up and back, up and back, up and back, sloped. In a lot of these, in our Sundancer, in fact, and when you come down in here, you have to kind of duck down. You have to get down in here like this. And then once you're sitting down, then you can kind of sit straight up. Not Formula. What they did by pushing all of this up and back, is you walk down here just like normal. Just like a normal person would walk down into your little area and sit down and relax. They've got this extra cushion here so you can make a bed out of this. So very versatile. I love what they did here. Again, remember what I'm talking about. These comfortable, soft seating. I love the way that they did this. There's a lot of room in here. There's some storage closets back here. This is really cool. So as we enter the main cabin, I want to remind you that there is not a lot of walk-around space on this bed, and the reason is because of what I told you about before. The narrow bow, the point, and the flare that they do, the steep flare that they do, all of that is for making this an offshore quality vessel, an offshore worthy vessel. You can really get out into the ocean on this, 3-4 foot swells. You're not going to be getting splashed. It's going to funnel that water away from you. Now, again, what you do lose is a little bit of that roominess around the bed. But that's perfectly fine. All we do is come in here to sleep anyway. So what are you worried about that for? It's not that big a deal. I do love that they've got dual entries to the bathroom. So if you do have this door closed and you're getting up in the morning, you're going to go to the bathroom, you're going to shower, and you do have guests in the boat, you don't have to come out the bathroom to come in. That's a really nice feature. I like that. And they've got some portholes in the bedroom as well, so you can get some airflow through here in the spring and in the wintertime if you want to. You don't have to constantly be running the air conditioner. Also, if it's warm outside and you're just not down in here, you don't have to kind of keep it cool all day. You can let the breeze just keep it aired out, and then when it's time to go to bed, flip that air conditioning on, so you don't have to have it running all day. So really cool what they did here. I like a lot of what Formula did with this boat. There's a lot of space, a lot of room, soft cushions, lots of storage space. A really great boat that they did here. And I'm very, very pleased with the size of this kitchen, the roominess of everything. This is really great. All right, guys, that's our tour of a Formula 41 PC. This boat is for sale. You can contact me, Roy Bragg, Gulf Coast Boating, with Edwards Yacht Sales at 850-591-7581. If you have any other questions about any of the vessels that we have listed, please give me a call. Thanks again for joining us on Roy on the Water.